Welcome back, everyone.
Welcome back to another video. Welcome back to another Ask Daniel video. I haven't done these for a while. I've actually had a backlog of questions, but I've been so busy with other stuff. Just a quick couple things. GP Vegas 2018 is coming up in June, so do not regret not booking your flight and your hotel. It is the biggest GP of the entire year. It is the best GP to go to because there's a lot of celebration for Magic the Gathering this year for the 25th anniversary. It's kind of like a conglomeration of kind of like a San Diego Comic-Con feel, in the sense that you have a lot of friends and a lot of feel-good type of things. You know, you have a lot of like artists and vendors and gaming going on, but you also have, and also cosplay, but you also have a lot of collectors, who come all over the world. It's not just about gaming, but it's also about collecting. And obviously you have 2 Grand Prix. This year there's 2 Grand Prix, and it starts basically Friday and Sunday. I think actually it might even start Thursday, but if you go to cfbevents.com, you get all the details. But do not delay on booking your flight and booking your stuff. And obviously, I'm going to be there. Rudy from Alpha Investments will be there. Edwin, the engineer, YouTuber, will be there. Open Boosters will be there. Brian Weissman, I talked to him the other day. The old school Magic player will be there, slinging some spells, playing some old school with you guys. There's Tavis King, the misprint guy. I don't know if you guys saw that video, but he's that guy who basically put out, who talked about his big ass binder, like 10 feet tall. It's not 10 feet tall, but a really big binder of misprints, and he's really gonna go into some history of some of those awesome artifacts he has. But yeah, this year is all about nostalgia. It's all about what makes Magic special, to you. It's not about necessarily the most expensive items. It's more about what makes you feel good. So I will be saying this almost every single video, especially in May, but basically bring your most nostalgic items, your decks, pictures, whatever, bring them to our booth. Love to get some video on it, your storytelling, how and why you started with Magic. I think the community has some great stories. I like to share that with everybody. So come by the booth this year at GP Vegas 2018. All right, so this Ask Daniel video question is from Daniel M. And he asked some really great questions about, this email I got from him. So basically it says, this past weekend I attended my LGS's grand reopening and was able to buy a booster box of Kaladesh. Kaladesh, guys, when there was lottery cards back in the day. I was lucky enough to pull a Masterpiece Soul Ring. My questions about this card are the following. Pepsi. Normally don't drink it, but it's okay. All right, question are, do you think this would be a good card to hold as an investment in hopes that it'll retain value or rise in value over time? Next question, do you think it is worth the time and money to get it graded? And if so, does a higher end grade fetch a higher price tag? Also, within the past month, I purchased an Italian Invoke Prejudice. This was bought simply because I fell in love with the card when I first started playing 16 years ago. And unfortunately, I lost my original English print many years ago due to theft. My question about that is, do you feel getting this card graded would be worth it? Is it in what I consider excellent condition? I never plan on letting this one go, but we all know tough financial times means nothing is off limits. And last question, in your experience, does a higher end Italian Invoke Prejudice fetch higher of a price than a non-graded one? I thank you wholeheartedly for being a positive force within our community. I value your professional input and viewpoint much more than everyone else out there. Not to say everyone else in the MTG finance is doing a bad job. I just know how you focus much more on the positive note instead of the negative. Thanks for your help, Dan M. All right, Dan, thanks again for your positive comments. I want to focus on that word because there's a lot of negativity in this Magic world, and we got to keep positive. I'm not really going to go into the negative side of what's going on in life right now. Nothing really negative as in bad, other than just some sad personal stuff going on, but I will keep this one brief. It's very important in times of struggle with family to keep positive, and in life. Doesn't matter if you lose your job, doesn't matter if someone's sick in your family, whatever. You have to keep positive. You gotta stay focused. All right, with that, let's talk about these questions. First off, okay, first question, Daniel says, I don't know if he likes Dan or Daniel. He says something about the Kaladesh Soul Ring, and he pulled out a Masterpiece card. Awesome job. I mean, well, good luck. That was awesome. So, great luck, actually. It's very difficult to pull those cards. I don't remember how many there were, but there's like 30-something-ish of them. And the fact that you got one of the best ones, if not the best one, in my opinion. And you're asking a two-part question here. Basically, is it worth keeping and is it worth grading? Okay, so I get this question quite a bit, and I want to do this question about this type of topic because I think there's a clear misconception on what grading is. And those that know me know that I talk about grading as a way to not only preserve the collectible or the artifacts, whatever you want to call them, but obviously to increase the value from a financial standpoint. However, if you grade a card that has no actual demand right now, then there is no point of grading the card. Also, if the card that you're buying has so many nice copies, when you open the pack, they're not warped or they're not beat up or there's not condition sensitivity like alpha or beta cards back in the day, then I would say that the supply, even though the supply is, I don't know the exact run of Masterpieces, but I could tell you that even if there's like 10,000 of them or 5,000 of them or something like that, I think most of the copies are really high quality condition. So to your point, to your question about grading Masterpiece cards in general, if I don't think it's wise to grade these type of cards right now, or if ever. Main reason why is because most people that get these cards they're very nice condition. So even if the population of the cards might be very low at first, there could be people that grade the cards more and more later on down the road, and there's actually going to be just an incredible amount of supply of the high-end versions, and your card would never appreciate in value. The other thing is a lot of people who buy these cards actually buy them and use them for their decks, for their commander decks, their cube, whatever, or just to get different versions of the Soul Ring in this case. So I don't find the grading them actually makes any sense. Also, when you grade a card, you start limiting the amount of buyers that will buy a graded card. Now, I'll explain this. People that buy graded cards are looking to have a preservation and a collectability factor. Grading provides a luxurious way to basically protect the cards. Obviously, people value the condition and the grading expertise of BGS, Beckett Grading Services, or PSA, Professional Sports Authenticator. But the thing is, there's a lot of people I've found over the years that actually appreciate just having in their binder or a top loader, whatever, and just looking at the cards conveniently in their binder and pages and not having to worry about going into the safe and having these bulky ass cards and flipping through them and making all this noise and just dropping them or losing them. So I think the convenience of having in a binder really plays a role in the collectability, actually. So no, do not grade Masterpiece cards, even any modern card, really. They don't really provide great resale value, and also because of the supply and the cut of the cards were so good back in the day, there really isn't much premium for the condition, just like an alpha card, for example, would have. All right, good question there. So next question is this Italian Invoke Prejudice. Sucky thing that you got your card stolen years ago. If you ever go to GP Vegas, I like to hear the story on what happened. But in this particular question, it seems to me the Italian Invoke Prejudice card to you is more of a nostalgia play. In that case, the question you have to ask yourself is, why are you getting it graded? Why would you get it graded? Because you mentioned here something very interesting about, well, you know, if I lose my job, or I'm sorry, you never know what the world comes in terms of money, right? You don't know if you have to let it go and something like that. So in that particular case, it seems to me like you have the card potentially for maybe a financial usage, you know, an asset to sell later on. So kind of two parts here. Number one, if you are a collector out there and you guys are looking to, you have all these nostalgic cards you have, but you want to grade those nostalgic cards. That does not mean you should grade the cards, because grading fees cost a lot, shipping fees cost a lot, and even then the preserving of them having in a case doesn't necessarily mean the card is worth more. And then on top of that, it only means a lot to you because it's your pet card. It might be a card that you have opened in a booster pack, right? But no one else will care and know that. So I find like if you just put them in a nice top loader with a penny sleeve, it actually preserves the card really well, especially if it's not in any humidity or any sunlight. So in a temperature control environment, I don't see the point of grading those kind of cards. To the point, I think Dan's actually bringing up a point of like Italian Invoke Prejudice. This is a reserveless card. It's gone through some buyouts, and people are collecting and investing in them. So he might be asking, hey, I'll make an assumption here. He might be asking, hey, do I grade this card because maybe one day I need to sell it? And you never know, right? The card will maybe be worth more if I grade it. So first off, you gotta look at it as an individual basis. Italian Invoke Prejudice, I don't think that card is off-centered that badly. It's not a difficult card to get a high grade. Number two, Italian Legends was printed so many times. I believe the print run on that was much greater, about 3 times greater than English. So what happens is if you end up grading that card, you have, again, a case of lot of ease of getting mint cards, and then you have a lot of supply on the Italian Legends side. You got to consider the demand here. Even if the card's graded, people are not going to pay a premium on a graded card unless it's like a 9.5 or PSA 10 gem mint, or maybe even a pristine. So the next question I have to ask you is, how nice is this card? Is it centered? Is the corners, edges, there's no wear? No surface scratches, no print dots. There's a lot of print dots in Italian Legends, right? Front and back. If there's print dots, that kind of thing, I wouldn't grade it. So I think I'm kind of making assumptions here, but if this, Dan, is your nostalgia feel-good card, I have a lot of collectors who have nostalgic cards. If you want to grade it, put it on your mantle, whatever you want, display it to your friends, that's great. But don't do it for financial reasons, because honestly, there's better ways to make money than just grading one pet card. The cost alone for that one card will be astronomical. All right, so Dan, thanks for your questions. I think these are very interesting questions because it brings up the topic, and I'll leave it at this, is that when you ask yourselves, guys, when you are grading cards, what is the purpose? Are you grading them to collect them yourself? Are you grading them to think you're going to make more money? Grading cards can be very, very expensive, especially if you don't know how the cards, the market for the cards, if you don't understand the market in terms of who will buy the cards, because the buyers matter a lot. If you're selling the cards and the buyers don't want 8s, they want 9s and 9.5s and PSA 10s and higher grade cards, then all the cards you're buying are grading are absolutely just, you're wasting your grading fee. It's almost like you could have sold it without it graded and it'll sell a lot faster, right? So also the eras of the cards. I've said this earlier, but cards like Rishodon Port and Mercadian Mask, that was like 1999. You got Mox Diamond. I've seen cards like that graded. City of Traders from Exodus. These are reserveless cards, but do they really command graded card prices No, they do not. In fact, if you grade those cards, some players will just crack them out and just play with them if the prices are really reasonable. So it is a false assumption to think that grade a bunch of cards, even if you get great grades, will warrant a lot of money. That's just a very, very false assumption. All right, guys. Well, thanks again for joining the video. Thanks again for watching all the videos. Again, GP Vegas 2018, I will be there. Rudy will be there. Lots of other YouTubers will be there. We will be focusing on nostalgia. Please, please bring your decks, bring your collections, bring things you want to sell or look at or buy or trade. That's fine. But most importantly, I want to see collections that are meaning something that you really enjoy. I want to hear some of your guys' stories of Magic, how you got started, why you started, what makes you feel good about Magic. I want to hear the positivity of your story about Magic. All right, guys, you guys take care. Have a great week. We'll talk to you guys soon.